Hello, Oracles. Welcome to our weekly pick a card reading, Inkblot and Oracle style, of course. And thank you to our members for stepping forward and sharing some inspirations because this reading, inner child inspired, has been from them. So please do receive or release freely. Whether the inner child is a concept or a construct and or a vision, if you have a vision when you conceive of that, what is stepping forward for me is the power of imagination, and not because it's ungrounded or young or this, that, or the other. It's like looking at fire as an element, but the fire, the flame, is simply the expression of the essence, and there's a power in the imagination that can help and complement intellect and intuition. So here are our 3 ink blots. 1, if this is standing out to you, take it in. The lighting seems to be a little weird today. There it is. Anyway, if anything is standing out, timestamps are below and or in the comment section. Number 2, as our inner child portal. I feel like this one breathes. And then number 3. Oh, there we go. That lighting seems to be a little bit better. This one has like degrees, like a phalange or like a vent. You know, if you were, or blinds, something like curtain blinds. All right, take it in. Whether you're opting for 1 or an order of 3-2, 3-1, or a Sunday, a Saturday, and a Tuesday. I'll see you at your choice chosen. All right, number 1. You want to take that in. Screenshot if you'd like to scry in your own time. Personal use only. All right. So there's a little bit of a Joker vibe here in this inner child channel. Oh, interesting. Inner child channel, if channeling has anything to do. And I am seeing Joker from the Batman, but in like a pastel way. And I'm wondering if you're here in some way, shape, or form, you have a vivid imagination and it has served to survive and navigate. And what I want to say, if this message is just for one, thank you for holding space, where maybe there wasn't space for your emotions to be felt or heard. And so it's almost like there's a comic relief about this. You also might have a really good sense of humor, and humor is healing. Humor is healing. There's a boat in here, but it's being pulled up onto shore by a feminine figure. I, me, if we would like to place our inner child as a construct or a vision so we can see it, they're in the boat. The paddle is in. There's only 1 oar, so this is not a 2-oar boat, at least that I can see. And coming up onto the sacral shores. Now, this might be your inner feminine energy, mother energy, grandmother, guide. Please follow where you like. When you know it hits, you're just like, yeah, I know who that is. But depending on, I don't know if they still do it nowadays, but when I was young, I remember for Halloween one year, it was like half man, half woman, and you would do like the side thing. And you're like in a suit with a mustache and a beard, and the other side with like a high heel. This is in this, it's the feminine being, or the feminine energy at least, that is drawing the boat up. And it's the masculine energy that is bringing, almost like if one's pushing, one's pulling. There might be something about parents pushing and pulling, tug of war space, and just kind of being along for the ride. I do want to say in this space, I'm back into the sacral because it originally felt pastel-y, like Joker colors, Batman, vibrant, Gotham City, totally fun. But this felt like, add a little Easter in there if you want. Add a little pastel, add a little pretty, male or female. I'm not concerned about that. Add a little pretty, whatever that means to you. And I'm coming up onto the sacral shore. where the masculine energy is preparing to help pushing the sand of sorts to come into the space of me, personal, of whatever this threshold of the seas to the shore is for you. I'm going to wander in as this moment as it's stepping in intuitively to where we started, the power of the imagination. Not necessarily just daydreaming or woo-woo or airy fairy flighty out there. It has its place. This feels like having a skill, like to ground in imagination. It's almost like maybe in some way, shape, or form, this is helping the way I'm seeing it, like the secret sauce of the sacral. And if this has been important to you or something that you're returning onto the shore of, and it seems to be in the sacral area, and it's shining bright, like it is neon amongst the pastel. So it also feels less stark. There's also a feather here, which is very, very interesting. If feathers mean anything to you. Okay, there's an animal here. I want to put a worm with a crow head together. A worm and a crow head. And it almost has the sensation as this worm and crow, but it has this ambiance of a sloth as well. It's more of a methodicalness. And I'm not speaking of sloth in like laziness. There's a method sometimes of working. I don't know. I do love me some sloths, but I don't think a sloth as an expression is in any way concerned if we, me, or an audience thinks that it's moving too slow or looks silly. It is not concerned. I feel very strong in this energy of being unbothered and not concerned, not to be confused with distant or cold. It's just in my own skin. And maybe this has been a slow journey to be comfortable in one's own skin. Fair enough. Because there's been some things here about the heart and control. I'm seeing chattering teeth. We used to wind them up as kids, like dentures, and they go ta 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 ta. And I don't know if there's just been a lot of opinions around you or a lot of direction and dictation. I just heard dictating directions for you. There are, I think they're monkeys, but I'm in like Stanley Kubrick's Space Odyssey of sorts. What are those, apes? And maybe even like the Lion King. So I feel like I'm more in the jungle. There is a horse, but it's really a unicorn, and it's also piercing the butt of the sacral because this is turning into the shore down here. All of those are seeds, and there is a bloom, and it's like the unicorn picks this flower with its horn. And maybe even, no, I think and it feels like I want to give it to you as this gift, this bloom up here. And these monkeys, there's the monkey tail there. I was going to also say lemurs, if those mean anything to you. In this moment, I feel like I wish I knew more monkey species to be more specific. So this is the way, thank you. Almost like baby orangutans. Why are they babies? They might not be babies. I think I'm just looking at them from a distance, and they are a family. Maybe orangutans has a very specific message because it's more of that. Okay, thank you. There's also a partridge in a pear tree here. For some, it also is a dove, and it's a dove of the heart space or the green ray. Whichever way you land into the energies of such. But this dove works with the frog energy. There's also an elephant. Now, remember when I was seeing that unicorn, Blend the elephant and a unicorn together. Yes. Okay, so there's also a being up here. I think it's a purple beaver. So I think there's a lot of crown work that's been going on. Okay, there's also a fish in here. I'll get to it in just a moment. And I will add on some cards in the shop as well. If you've ever seen the show Survivor, and maybe it's in other places as well, there's usually a challenge at some point in time where one person is standing on top of, a bunch of boxes, and their teammates are either blind or connected together, and they have to direct them. But I feel like there's a few different portions, like if they're in couples of two. And this one person who does have the sight, who can see the course, who can see the obstacles and the flow, is communicating not only to one pairing, navigating left, left, right, right, over, turn, twirl, but also to the other two. So there's something about maybe the higher self here helping, and I wonder if maybe that's in that space here. The higher self helping this in the spirit of the inner child, which resides within, the adolescence, adult, and elder energy. And maybe those are different communications. Turn left, go right, you're going to bump in over there. And it kind of feels like this. And when you're looking at it from like the show of Survivor Space, because there's not only IUEME's team sending these communications out to our pairings, there's also these other teams that are doing it. So there's a lot of noise, and I heard the word combustion. This could be family. This could be your parents, your siblings, your teachers, this, that, or the other. And I kind of want to say, like, in a rude but not rude way, like how to tune them out. Like how to tune them out. Because it's like you have compassion, you understand what they're doing, but it's also not your course. Okay, or actually switching decks. Okay. Yeah, that feels good to say. I also want to note that this circle, this fish over here, it's so delicious. Whatever you're working on, maybe in your sacral energy, with your crown in your heart, it's like that's the two pairings. It is all very much so grounded in this circle that you don't need to control. But it's space for you to feel that. It's space for you to feel, think. I'm bouncing in and out of higher self, if we place that at like the scope of that collar, to all the different pairings of your intellect, intuition, imagination, as the examples are, or place it to job, family, relationships. Apply it where it fits for you, however you might be listening to the inner child. Because it's like developing oh, oh my goodness, it's like a little baby pharaoh in there. A little baby pharaoh. I love it. There's worship here. There's worship in a way that for me, that now that word might, maybe you grew up in a very religious family. Great. If it was great for you. But if it was something you rebelled against or felt it wasn't for you, wasn't your course, everything's to be an opportunity in one way or another. But the way it might be received of, it's like this questioning, why are you taking this path, or why are you going against the family? And it's like, really, I'm not like, I don't feel like in this moment that you're trying to do any of those. It's again listening to that higher self through the noise. And whatever and whomever you do connect to and worship, that has value, that has a lot of power. And please know that. Please know that. There's also a cow in here, if a cow symbol means anything to you. All right, I have since flipped it, and let's add on some cards in the Shaman's Palm and the Caves. Thank you for like, sharing, and subscribing and all that kind of good stuff. And as well, if you've joined the mob mailing list, fantastic, because some things will be coming up over the spring and summer that will be shared only there. Hello, Ladybug. What are you doing? In the Cave of Ice, we have 22 Visionary. There's that purple, kind of like Pandora's box, standing on those boxes with that crystal. This is higher self stuff. It's like I want to say, knowledge can take you so far, intuition can take you so far, but you have some form of understanding or formulating playground, which could also be seen as an obstacle course or a scavenger hunt for it's almost like the inner child consciousness is the key. Because there's also a certain trust there. There's a trust between the inner child and the higher self that maybe gets clouded when it's solely connected through intellect or intuition. And not ever defining for all. It's always just in the moment, the way the expression's coming through. And if someone needs to receive it that way. There's that elephant again, but now the elephant is in a kangaroo pouch. Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. There's also a porcupine, which has come up recently, maybe in the House of Scrying, if you do wander over to my other channel. The porcupine. In the Cave of Winds of Air is 25 Discernment. The harp. Maybe you were harped on as well. And maybe do we harp on ourselves? This little ladybug is like journeying. You go, buddy, you go. Adorable. Sometimes your higher self wants to come out and play with your inner child. This feels like when a grandparent is with a child and they have a different relationship than the child to the parent does. And it's like, at least in the jokes, like, don't be so nice. You're not that nice or forgiving or spoiled. It's just a different kind of relationship. This feels inner. But maybe you also had a grandparent or someone, an auntie or whatnot, that filled that role, that when maybe your family growing up in conditions that, nurturing certain aspects, they understood. They were kind of like your guardian angel. They maybe couldn't say anything directly, if they're like 70 and you're 12, but they can be like a guardian. They maybe can't talk to you or help IUAB, that part of us in that time, understand why the adults are doing what they're doing. How to help you make sense of X, Y, and Z. But they're there for you. Yeah. And kind of like a guardian angel. On the bottom is deliverance, and it's kind of like that love dove, partridge in a pear tree. And I'm seeing Woodstock and a swan. It's not a black swan. It's not a white swan. This is a brown swan. This is a swan that has rolled itself in mud to blend in. Have you been hiding your swanness? I also now want to blend swans and raccoons. And it kind of reminds me of, I'm not saying this for you, but maybe you've had to deal with or become really good at like sheep and wolves clothing and a sheep and a wolf and a sheep and I don't know, something about that. The age-old adjective, is that what they call it? Did I finish my thought about Woodstock from the Peanuts, who is typically depicted as yellow? So I want to take Woodstock from the Peanuts, the little yellow bird, and blend it with Yoda or Grogu from Mandalorian. I believe it's anyway, blend those together. So now I'm very much so heart-esque, earth energy rooted with deeper earth energy. So now I feel like I'm in the inner earth of the inner child with solar plexus. So it's like here, the root wasn't red, it was brown, almost like mud. And I'm just going to feel for a moment how stucky that can feel, or quicksandy. But you know what? Okay. But it's also like a mud mask or a clay mask. I'm seeing like what I think is some like ancient tribal volcanic ash Mayan face mask or something like that. Like where it's so mineral rich. But you are the one who is given the mineral rich root. And so maybe that sucks in referencing commonalities or connection or a seemingly harmony in some way, shape, or form. But then it starts to dry that mud mask, or like how excited animals get to play in the mud and pigs get to, and how cooling it is. And it feels fun, to be honest with you. It feels, I'm not saying what maybe you've gone through has been fun, but where you are now, when you are a swan, a bird, an elephant. Oh, there's a gorilla. It's like King Kong in there. Oh my God, but he's like a mountain. Now you play in the mud for fun, for the minerals. Yeah, it just feels different. And I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I do like it. I don't know, I kind of, but it's almost like I don't want to say I'm like, oh, I kind of like this, but no, I do like it, and it's very fun. Okay, so there's another message here about two parents, or two grand or guides, two parents, and they always sent love, whether they're in the afterlife or were for far from afar. Man, they have just like always. It kind of makes me feel emotional. It does make me feel emotional. You know, it's kind of like not all inner child stuff needs to be traumatic. Some of the really good stuff too. But I feel like this is how can we, as the awareness of here and now, nurture and love that part of ourselves, and almost kind of dote on it. There's a bear here. Somebody's telling me to close my mouth. They're like, close your mouth. It's an overbearing energy. And whatever energy this is for you, they have, they want me to believe that they are, it might be a parent because I'm seeing a parrot, a cardinal energy, but really it feels like they're a budgie. And I'm not saying a budgie bird in any way, shape, or form is less than a cardinal. This feels like overcompensating. And it feels like applied to maybe at some point in your life, it just felt like there's just been an overbearing energy. Uh, Cave of Hearth Fires, expansion, card 11. Thank you. on the bottom is suffering, but it is in the reverse, but I'm going to flip it over just so we can look at it. There's that cardinal down there. So now, and if we place Ayuimi in here, because I don't think the lighting allows you to see, but there is white in here. So now the way I'm feeling this in the Cave of Hearth Fires, that sacral, or sorry, solar plexus coming online, really coming online in a different way than maybe it has before. And it's almost like a guidance system. It could also be working with solar energy. Because now there's a different kind of bear energy. I'm not even sure if it's still a bear, to be honest with you, but that's okay. And instead of like squishing my mouth shut, now they're like rest your eyes, my child. Like rest your eyes. And you know how nice it is, like if you put like an eye mask on or something and you just have an ever so pressure. Somebody touches your shoulders and they remind you to relax. And it's over the eyes. And now I'm back in that higher self, and I wonder why, if I'm seeing it as the bear, but it's not the overbearing bear, but it's, anyway, the bear. Back in that survivor game thing where the higher self is up on the blocks looking at everything. And maybe your inner child or a portion of you, you could have been 35. I'm not concerned about, earthly age, but I do want to acknowledge that exists. Like you could be doing or healing or going through inner child stuff at 99, 42. Because I feel like maybe me in some way, shape, or form, you've had to keep an eye out and direct and be and da 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 for so long. And now this other energy is like, okay, instead of having to see for everyone and everything, the game is over. So rest your eyes for a moment. The pressure is off. And now I feel like being blessed or bestowed with a blessing, however you would receive a blessing. I'm in a swing from when I was a child or a jolly jumper. I also want to note that I feel like when I think of the root space, and like I said, like I'm not seeing any red, but they were covered in mud because they're really purple roots. In the Cave of Rivers is 43 Fearless. I will bring it up in a moment. And then in Cave of Earth is 3 Gravity. On the bottom is Generosity. Is that like Paddington Bear or something like that? Cave of Rivers, Fearless. So cow, bull, ox, bison? I don't have my goggles on today. Yeah, I saw you in there earlier. Okay. So this is the way I'm going to say this, not to necessarily validate anyone suffering this, that, or the other, but not to stay in it. I just think in some way, shape, or form, if this is helpful, receive or release freely, pick and flick what feels good to you. Cows run away from the storm. Bison, oxes, bulls run into the storm. And while, yeah, some shite is shite, but you have made a decision, a discerning decision in your mind, kind of from the get-go, in some way, shape, or form, to move through the storms, into them to get onto the other side. And while it may appear slower or whatever the case is, different, You've had a different vision from the get-go. And that vision can't be shared because of the power of your imagination, because of the landscape in which maybe you receive information is different. And we're not competing here. Everyone's alchemy is different, but I'm acknowledging you're different. And so, the gravity, you know what's fascinating about this and the Cave of Earth or Pentacles is the coloring of this card. It's kind of like fearlessness doesn't mean you're not afraid emotionally, energetically, earthly, etc. But you know there's some weight to what, like, and I mean like weight and value, like measuring metals and golds. There's weight to what it is that you decide to focus on and be attentive to, what you may overcompensate for, undercompensate for. You like weights and measures. But somewhere along this line, I don't know if they're ostriches, but I feel like they're in that family, like emus, the tall birds with, they're, yeah, just delectable. I'm seeing the Loch Ness Monster as well. And maybe a part of you has felt like a Loch Ness Monster, a lure. People didn't believe in you. Maybe you didn't believe in yourself. Success is on the bottom with the star. Don't give others sometimes too, just because of a certain title or position, parent, this, boss, da 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 da, more gravity than they deserve. And I'm not, uh, like, it's like making the gravity of the situation. Oh my goodness. You have really good discernment to be like, hold on, do I want to expand into that energy? Why? You know, and I'm not a person necessarily who sits and asks why a lot, but you do need a reasoning to reconcile and to get your, if you're going to be moving fearlessly. You might have also been a great protector of other people in your life. Okay, let's close out this message. Equilibrium, learn the truth, and passion, balanced emotions, and okay, we're closed out there. Equilibrium with visionary. This is that sacral and heart, the crown and the root, the mud, the earth, the wood stock, and the everything that you are bringing into equilibrium, because this is where you learn the truth of discernment, who is telling the truth, even if we're lying to ourselves so that we may want to stay in a space of suffering that's familiar in our minds, but our heart of hearts wants to expand, getting those communications clear and cutting out the noise. And how much merit, credit, like we could be, you know, saying things from the past or our parents used to say or this, that, or the other, and it's like, but if we are the ones utilizing those in this present moment, then that's on us. That's not anyone else. That's still us doing that. I love that. Balanced emotions is coming through with expansion, and it kind of feels like as we learn the truth about things, I think that's like through that discernment too of the mind, because you have this like wonderland about you that you can go through. Maybe it's in your dream states, maybe it's in your meditations, your journalings, however you might go through it, as you're welding, as you're I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing, cooking dinner. The great excuse me. You take my breath away, the greatness that you be, and balancing out your emotions in regards to the heart space, being discerning before we dive in deep with people. Dare I even say, and I don't want it to say in like a judgy poo-poo D-bag way, but it's kind of like not just giving away trust and respect and belief for free. Those are significantly valuable. They hold weight in a person, place, or thing. And we might be under the assumption sometimes in this day and age to be like, give those things away for free and then give them the opportunity to prove right or wrong. These might be fundamental stones that you have in place, and they are guides, and that's just not given away for free. Doesn't mean you're hard ass about it. And if you are, maybe you want to look at that. But it just means they are what they are. Passion is coming in with fear, fearless in the cave of rivers. Antlers and horns work together here. Antlers and horns work together. There's a big old circle here. There's a flock, whether it's family, your people, soul tribe. And those are all great. I'm for a moment going to sit here and say the space for the inner child to feel the love, to feel the fearlessness, the belief, the respect, the worship in a wonderful way of all other aspects of ourselves, nurturing for one moment, giving the inner child the podium to say thank you, wise one, being the key, the channel that connects most effortless to the higher self, but being held by the hands of the intellect and the intuition. And last but not least, in the cave of earth or pentacles with gravity is rebirth. I'm going to say this here. I do feel like there is a generosity that is coming in from a place, or that you're willing to receive, or you've already been in. I'm not sure where I'm at in this, because I'm laying down to receive. And while it's kind of like seeing the flame as the fire, as an expression of the essence of fire, or insert any element, there are things coming into your life, into your reality, tangible in whatever which way, shape, or form, that if you have not felt generosity from the universe, it seems to be the big way we say it, it starts with you, and you can expect to feel it. Because you are the seed of the tree, and it's self-love, self-respect. And before I let you go and head on over to number 2, because I feel like I've yammered for a really long time, Davy Crockett. So, cheers. Follow your passions fearlessly. Any sort of balancing creates expansions or space for expansion. Staying in the polarities can be a loop or a prison as well. So, but I think that you know that, and you're ready. You have been ready, or you've been sharing and being very generous with reality, with your work and your wisdoms and your presence and your essence. And so I thank you for being you. All right. I will see you next week on our Saturday weekly Inkblot Oracle reading. And if not, you're welcome to check me out at the House of Scrying, or you can head to my website. Everything's there, I believe. So until then, so much love. Number 2, this Inkblot is for you. Okay, can you see it okay? What's the vibe? What do you feel? What stands out? What speaks? Comment below as we all become the readers, seers, and oracles, nurturing our interconnected nature. So, when I first stepped in and saw this, I saw it as a feminine energy, and it was like opera singing at me. Ooh. And now I'm seeing it as a masculine energy. And I don't know if he's whistling. It feels like the wind, like if the wind was a man that was a, or the wind, and it's whistling, and it feels very king and queen vibes. There's also, I just want to note for someone here, maybe you've had some sleep paralysis, some nightmares, because there's also like this big old demon. They seem to be very prominent presences. So immediately stepping into this queen vibe, then this masculine king of the wind or of the air, and then also like if things are pretty dominant. So there's a certain clarity in this inner child channel here. Maybe you've dealt with nightmares. Could be seeing spirits. Sleep paralysis, emotions, all that kind of good stuff. There is all that kind of good stuff. So, but I want to know as I feel like I'm being careful here. And I'm going to honor that I'm being careful because it's almost like if where this black spot, like black ink is, here's the two eyes and it's kind of like nostrils. But, and say these are the horns or the ears, but say I want to pull it back together and it would cover this spot in here. This is opened up and it's revealing for me this pinnacle of something. These nesting dolls that share a bow tie of brilliance, your golden egg, your crown, but like not the crown energy. Yes, the crown is on top of the head, but like a gold crown. The wind might be an element, whether that's, and when we come into the cave, shaman's caves, we'll see what comes out if I remember by then to look at what comes out in the cave of winds. Because I feel like the wind, if you like sent out a message in the wind, it works. Yeah. So these guys just turned on me, and I feel like I'm seeing Casper the Friendly Ghost, one of his uncles, one of his uncle ghosts. He's like, whoa. It's kind of like when IUE me can peel back the curtain of nightmares, sleep paralysis, etc. Because I don't know if you've been, maybe it's, this might even be like a past life inner child kind of experience, and wherever you place inner child at any age or expression, but it's kind of like I feel charred. You also might feel or be in someone's instances the child of like like a demon. Now whether that relates to somebody being mean, bad, or a bully or abusive, to, you can't quite place it. And I'm not saying, not everything has its place. It's not about a judgment. But there does feel like a little bit of like a domineering, something about obedience as well. But here's the thing, can I wander inside? And yeah, thank you. I want to wander inside the space of, being our own block or demon. You see behind the curtain of that. And you know who actually holds the hand of that quote unquote inner child that we'll place in a young one for simplicity's sake? That big old shadow, that big old monster, not in somebody else. This is a personal one. This is in the inner universe. They're holding my hand, says, I walk with you. You don't need to be afraid. I'm not talking about not being responsible or taking certain actions or precautions. See, it's going to make me emotional. So when people might maybe see you or they interact with your energy and they might feel like this big, scary energy, I don't know. I feel like it's quite angelic in nature. No harm actually done. It's like a misunderstanding of a comfort, a pain that has in one way become my best friend. So I know I can take on any challenge. And in another way, maybe sometimes we utilize it, or maybe codependency has been a big thing. Chains of codependency, I just heard. And there's a black dog here. It's like, imagine if Scooby-Doo was black and he had like, I don't know what kind of dog Scooby-Doo actually is, but I'm seeing it as like a Doberman Pinscher or a black, a little, it's changing fast on me. Like Scottish. It's like they can smell things in the air. Excuse me. There's something precious about a blue diamond. And you're kind of like blue diamond energy. Is that the diamond that, or maybe something they talk about in Titanic, like the jewel at the end and it goes down to the water? But there's something about that. I do want to acknowledge that you've probably been through some nightmares. And the way I'm seeing this is the way I'm seeing friends from when I grew up, because I love spooky. Okay, right? Especially if you come from my other channel, you know I love spooky. Think like Tim Burton, M. Night Shyamalan's spooky. I don't like scary, jump out, scary, or gory. Just me personally. But like how sometimes people or like the Twilight Zone, the X-Files, they are artists of this world, of the scare. And there's all these different kind of degrees of how to step into that energy and deal with the horror or the thriller of it. And it captures these emotions for a reason, because they're not going to be found in a rom-com. Look at me, I'm trying to Siskel and Ebert style. I don't know. But it's like something like that. So this genre, and if you've gone through a time in your life where things were nightmarish, I'm also seeing Pet Cemetery. There could just be a lot of grief and the ghouls that may haunt us from past lives. The way I'm going to say this is your inner child is a golden child. And when you have something that is worth protecting, preserving, maybe there's a certain energy about your inner child that has worked through its stuff. Again, I'm kind of coming back to codependency, where maybe there's people, places, or things in your life, family, friends, etc. And they might, I don't know if it's like, I'm not seeing the green in like envy or jealousy or whatnot, but it's kind of like they don't believe until you do it, and then they're all on your side. And they're like, oh, I knew you could do it. And you're like, bull. But that didn't stop you, because it's not about proving to anyone else. That nightmare of somebody else's that maybe was projected onto us or we were born into, that's done. Now you are the director. You build the sets, you build the scenes, you are behind the scenes because you know it has value. But you have conquered a significant landscape. There's a rocking chair where the bottom of it's like a rocking horse. If it's not a horse, I've been this whole time like sidebarring, like, well, what are you? I can't quite seem to make it, but if these were like the rocking horse space, thank you. Komodo dragon. Komodo dragon, rocking horse. There's also this angelic presence here, because I do believe this feels like I'm seeing both like your nightmarish side and your angelic side of this inner child, because they can go, they be there. What may be a very pleasant experience for one, or at least on the surface, it's a nightmare for this inner child. Can somebody please hear the calls and the cries of the inner child? This environment may appear to be okay on the surface. It is not. And I feel like you have, whether solo or through friends and family modalities, healing modalities, therapies, however you have done and dealt with this and maybe coped and with codependencies, this, that, or the other, here and now, I feel like you're the one who hears the call of the inner child. And it's not about crying wolf. Because I feel like Ayuimi, we know when we're calling our own wolf, like we're just being sassy or we're just having a moment like a little pity party. We know when we really need help. We know when we're being legit. And we also know when we might be calling for attention, positive or negative, to be reinforced. And I think you have a spidey sense for that in others. Okay. But it's more important that we know it for ourselves. Also, because I keep seeing him, so I'm just going to acknowledge the man in the hat. I used to see him as a young child as well. There might be something about that. I'm not sure what I'm seeing there. There's also a cowboy vibe in here. This cowboy has a heart, like wear in a cowboy hat. And I feel like there's that very specific form and shape. It's like a 3-hole punch, but it's just a single hole punch in the shape of a heart for airflow. Again, wind, wind, wind. So there's 2 big birds in here. I'm trying to decide how they would like to be received by me. Maybe it's just more important that they're received by you if they're a blue jay. I will admit, like, I think it's Gizmo or Gosmo from the Muppets is coming through. Wise ones I just heard. They might even feel, especially if you're empathic, they might come from another energetic realm. The sea beyond the sea. I also just want to note here for one or some, you're probably very psychic, and it's your inner child that holds the psychic channel. Guidance, reassurance, and strength from the other parts and aspects of us, psyche, intellect, intuition, etc. It is your inner child that is the most psychic. If you are looking for that, but you're probably just naturally psychic. And sometimes that's kind of like the gold. Some people are like, oh, you're just a natural at it. And they want to diminish it and be like, but you didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to do this. You still fine tune things. You still, Michael Jackson can be great at this, but he still cultivates his craft. So if you do have a natural affinity for something, you can choose to follow that and fine tune it, craft it, expand it, destroy it. And I don't know, maybe, again, it's not here in this space of like typical green or envy, but it's kind of like maybe you've just had to deal with that in a very shadowy way, being shielded or yielded, or holding back your shine because it makes others feel a way about themselves, but it's projected onto you, and it just turned into this whole thing. And it's like, hey, never mind. I won't shine. you know? So, I suppose this is something that you've worked through, but or still will continue to in some way, shape, or form, but you're very psychic. And it feels like in that space that's opening up. And then you can close it too, right? There's other beings here as well. So I'm seeing it like a manger situation. Like the wise men coming in to gift your soul in the space of here and now, in this container of inner child. Because I want to say in this way, shape, or form, and it's going to sound cheesy, it's child of God. If that aligns with you, exchange God for creator, source, child of your own self, of the parts of you. Yeah, I love it. I say this in the best way. You leave big footprints. Maybe you feel you have big footprints or shoes to fill, this, that, or the other, pressures, yada, yada, yada. But I'm just going to say for you, your frequency footprint is impressive. There's a chipmunk up here. He's been chipper and chipper the whole time. And he's eating cotton candy. But he's being given the cotton candy from this hippopotamus that's like, I'm going to look away while you eat it. Or I don't want to spook this part of me, whatever chipmunk symbology might mean to you. They're just like so dang cute, playful. But follow what you feel. In the cave of ice is letting go, time for release. You know, I read art first. Take a look at the season, the fall, the autumn, even the trees. Let their precious leaves fall, that they have built their seasons to grow, to bud, to bloom. Because the nourishment of that providing warmth, nutrients, coverage for the soil and the seeds that will come, for the base, all about that base, the base. These Komodo dragons now are coming out like just screaming at me, but they're wrenches. Like I'm seeing them actually as wrenches, so they're a tool. So when you're a Komodo dragon of sorts, or symbolically speaking, a part of you, yeah, expect no one else to listen. So maybe you're not disappointed, or this is something that you've had to do to save yourself from others' disappointment, not in you, of them. So you've learned to listen. Cheers, congratulations. There's clearly a cheers here. Those hearts that are like punch holes are mm, 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 mm. I don't know why it's so damn delicious, but it's so damn delicious to see them. It's almost like when people have these little personal touches on things, and you have a personal touch. And I don't mean like bad personal touch. Like you have a personal touch about you. And I appreciate it in this moment. And again, if someone has gone through something, some sort of abuse, shadowing, raunch is the word I heard. Raunch, bad touch experience. I do feel like if you haven't already, you seek out the proper people and other channels to nurture this part of you so that it doesn't corrupt you, which is part and parcel, likable or not, repeating things, even though the expression may not be in the here and now. I say that with compassion. So, and I say that with the utmost awe and respect, because maybe what you've gone through in some form of nightmare. I get it. And you have sought and seek and appreciate and welcome help, and not just from anybody. It's almost like it has to be a third person that doesn't have anything to gain. It might just be a straight up, like, it's like going to a therapist. You're like, here's money for time and your expertise and experience of this specific area. It's like they can't have any skin in the game. That's a weird thing to say, but self-love and nurture is on the bottom. This is in this I'm going to place it in this cave of winds. Oh my god. So I did remember cave of winds. The pink, pink tails. My god, my nose is so itchy in number 2 here. Ooh, it's like just like the spirit tickle your nose. Ooh. I can't remember. Yes, okay. So before I flipped it with this shell here, you might also be coming out of your shell in some way, shape, or form. There's a castle here. whatever. Yeah, castle, mansion of the mind, mansions of the mind. There's also a space rocket. What did I just heard? Asteroid. There's bear kisses. Dewclaw, a divine dewclaw. There is a rabbit here. He is wearing a suit and a white glove, kind of like a butler dude. There's also, they have tusks. Thank you. Oh my goodness. That, I feel like I just went to a really weird place. Because you know, they say like rolling out the red carpet. So it's like if I could follow these lines where these tusks are, it's like if you build it, they will come, first of all, the diamond, right? We're talking about your golden essence here, which I think is in this inner child space. But there's these very faint lines in here towards this bunny butler that I think takes you up in a way. You might also have shaman ancestors, and I mean serious shaman ancestors. I don't want to be rude because I don't want to minimize beginnings, but that also don't want to have to minimize to acknowledge when there are already established ancient or elder like energies. And that's what I'm seeing here. It's already established. And even though it might be in your family line, interest, this, that, or the other, there's still a process to access this support because once you step into it or uh, in this shamanic kind of space, black beavers, the shadow work that we refer to it here and now, it doesn't actually fit on my tongue, but I think it's like the closest concept I can express. I just don't think there's turning back from it. So it's kind of like an initiation, or if you've graduated from grade 8 to grade 9, going into high school, you can go back to grade 7 if you want, but you've graduated. It's like playing a video game and then you go back to a level to get the Easter egg. As long, if there's I don't want to say as long as, but if there's a reason you go back, but you're going to do that, whether you're wasting your time or finding out a clue or a hint. But if you're going back to be like, no, I didn't graduate from grade 8, middle school to high school, I didn't, I'm going to go back. It's just kind of a lie. So I kind of want to say if you're here, you are a part of this very old, yes, dark and deep, but if this is where you're working towards and you commit and you've graduated through this, it's like your inner child has known this for a very long time, maybe even more so than as we're growing and aging and being and doing and adulting and prioritizing getting houses and cars, and all these things are great. Don't get me wrong. I love the material world. It's fantastic. But your inner child has always protected a pearl. And you will give it to this rabbit, this butler rabbit bunny dude. And that is your access. There's also a figure that's coming through here. Feels like a bride. There's a veil. There's a dress in here. Self-love in the Cave of Winds, because it's important that you love you. And what is the quality of that? You set the standard. Cave of Hearth Fires is inner child. Hear and know me. I really should buy my glasses. Oh my God. Hear and know me. Does one's inner child have an immediate association with an age or a certain youth of energy that is mocked or taken not seriously or as ridiculous, as playful but not really anything? No. Whether this is your thinking or something that we recognize, I am seeing a grasshopper fly towards you or around you, if a grasshopper means anything to you, in good conscience. I think that you work with a slightly different guiding system. And I'm kind of coming back into these, I don't know, they're just so old. And I don't mean, it's like they're old inner child energies that I don't even know that others know that they exist. Because maybe it's beyond the concepts or constructs that I asked about earlier about where do we naturally go, right? To an age or an essence or a time. And all those things are great. Clues, 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 clues. Blues clues. But there is a whole other aspect, which maybe is in the shadow, which I don't know, that's fine. Doesn't it? Maybe it's just in the hidden and the unseen, unseen from prying eyes. Maybe this is truly like your inner. Man, it just, I'm in awe of this because I don't even know if you expect it, but you've kind of always known. You've kind of always known. And maybe it's not appreciated. That's okay. Let it go. And let the leaf fall from the tree. Because you're getting a cheers from, I don't I don't even know. But you know exactly what I call it? Duality. 23, balance needed. This is in the Cave of Rivers. 23 is also my Michael Jordan number. Not a fan of sports at all, but we all know Michael Jordan. Uh, Emotional fluidity. And it's in that black and white, but with all the blue around it. You are connected to what scientists maybe they know now or insert science stuff like dark matter. It's like they don't know what it is, but it's everywhere and it's in everything. And it's imbued in the consciousness, but specifically, maybe your third eye and your throat want to get together. I'm seeing these. Are they D batteries? Those square ones, and then they have like the things that when we were kids we used to like stick our tongues on them to see if they still had any juice. Something about the tongue though as well, but I also want to keep remembering that you have a pearl, whether it's a pearl of wisdom or something that you keep to yourself, and it might just simply be in the spirit of, in a non-selfish way, putting yourself first. Because there's something about however you do what you do multiplies. In the Cave of Earth, we have 2 cards. We have here boundaries, set them daily. There's that castle. And I'm in my own way. 10, new dawn, welcome back. So this castle was in here. There's the key. Maybe that's on your tongue. You know, when people are like, they don't take their medicine, they say like that. Or swallow the key, the pearl, the gem, the knowing, the love, the care. And then new dawn, the tip of your tongue. And that sunrise or sunset is behind that castle, which is in here. And we might see it as Shadowlands. Maybe it's just something that you don't share with people. When people have lost access to you for one reason or another, disrespect, abuse, whatever the case is, I fully here now trust that decision. It's not made willy-nilly. It's not made to preserve or protect some part of ourselves. And again, we can be real. We know when we're doing it, you know, to preserve an ego or no, this is mine or whatever. No, when you've made a decision, and if you were to say this person is not in my life or this aspect, this behavior, this whatever the case is within oneself, you're like, no, this is not anymore because of, or it's not. The decision has been made. I trust that. And maybe that's, again, hearing that inner child kind of Komodo dragon, trusting that, at least looking into it. Not every cry, people, places, or things around you sometimes deserve the attention I think that they want from you. And I think it's important that you protect your attention. Like it's important. Like I personally am very grateful, like just as the example, that when your awareness is here, whether for 5 minutes or reading whatever the case is, I personally, as Steph, and without trying to fill you with rainbows and butterflies, but legitimately on an energetic level, I am aware and appreciative because your time, attention, and awareness, which has time in it, is powerful. And whatever you choose to enjoy, engage in, add into, it's important. I don't know. It's important. And it feels like your alchemy awareness is like top notch. And your inner child has maybe gone through a lot of learning, but learned it. Everyone goes to school, but we don't all come out smart. You've learned the things, embodied them. And now, as above, so below is on the bottom, heaven and earth. Like, are there even words at this point? Is there words? Just congratulations, I suppose. Golden teeth too. If people get like their teeth gold plated or something like that, or a gold tooth, something along that lines. Oh, that little ladybug's happy. I put a wet cranberry down for him, so I think he's get some water. All right. Let's get some closing out messages. I hope this is serve, inspire, educate, or entertain. If there's anything else coming through. There is a lot of blue healing here. I'm also seeing someone who might be like, when I was a kid, I was under the covers, like reading with a flashlight. I feel like I would also hide from maybe a paranormal space. It's like until you're under the covers, like they can't get you on the bed, like, or somehow our blankets are made of metal shields and no paranormal activity, or nobody can find us and get us, playing like hide and go seek. Mother Earth and divine nudges coming through. This feels like there's those angel wings right in here. And even see how in the Mother Earth card number 1, like the black and the blue there is a discussion, or maybe you have divine discussions with elements and energies of such. So I'm going to say this in the way I just heard it. There's an inner child aspect that is leaving home. It's grown up. New bicycle, on riding the bicycle and so on. If, for simplicity's sake, we utilize that analogy or metaphor. Congratulations. If we may apply a parenting concept to this, one aspect of your inner child is healed, is out on their own, going to maybe different dimensions to gain more wisdoms that will add to your overall earth existence. And it can take a moment to not feel like we're carrying or reliving certain nightmares or abuses over and over and over and over and over again. Even when they're done, the lesson's been learned. So I do want to acknowledge that as well. But there's a different portion in the spirit of inner child, maybe a different part of our inner child. It could be the inner child of the intellect, the inner child of the intuition, the inner child of our heart, our legs, our roots, whatever the case is, that wants your attention. Things are clear now. Look at all this crystal. Cave of Hearth Fires 25 calendar days. Yeah, crystals can be sharp. They can also be tumbled and round, this, that, or the other. This kind of feels like in that landscape, if I was to turn the Inkblot back here, like if crystals were waves coming to celebrate you, bringing the gifts of you, coming to see what you've done and checking in. Inner child, hear me now. And you step forward, higher self, human, whatever the case is. I hear you. Clear communication. There could be something coming in about thought power, telepathy, but this is through the duality of the emotional body and the energy body. Again, I want to talk throat and third eye. How are they talking? You know, and that saying is, I don't know if they still say people talking out of their face or talking out of their ass or blah, blah, blah. I don't know. This is like mind to mind communication, and what minds are you connected to? Your awareness in all areas is important. I know it. I know it because I know, even as we might think of a child watching cartoons, but the parents are screaming in the other room, you know what's going on. You can feel it. You may not have the context or the regards or the language at that time, but you were present. And we don't want to carry that as a reason or excuse to not. So as the clarity comes in the heart and the nudges have come from the mind, it's like the mind is being smudged with self-love and care. The clarity comes into the heart. And the emotional body and the energy body start to communicate and harmonize. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror, finding the stillness and taking in the wind. And now the wind is different. The weather is different. You are different. Black bears. Change oil in your car too. Don't forget to change the oil in your car too. And maybe even the oil of what would be like telepathy or our mind thinkings and the gears of the mind. I don't even know that I can find any more words to express this feeling, because now I just feel like I'm in the fields. You're in the field. If you build, they will come. If that movie means anything to you, the diamond there. But even you. And I think I'm just going to leave it at this really nice feeling. And I hope I've done you some justice in expressing it, because while it's still, it just feels like from that wind that started, putting your words out in the ways, and maybe there was chaos and storms or whatnot. And now it's drawing it in. And what you press out and how you exhale. It's the weather of the whole world. Inhale, exhale equally, deeply or shallowly. I hope this did serve, inspire, educate, or entertain. Thank you so much for being here for our weekly Inkblot Oracle pick a card reading. I love that about you. You can check out the links below or visit thehouseofscrying.com for anything else in between, or if you want to check things out. But otherwise, I will see you next week. And thank you to the member. If you would like to join the inner circle, thank you to the member who brought forward Inner Child as the playground for us today for this pick a card reading. So gratitude. Number 3. So straight up, sorry. A card that came out in shuffling for you before we even get into your ink blot of Inner Child is 11, Skyfire, Messages, Channels, Information. When you're ready, there's your ink blot, of course. This is the card that just came out. And while the lighting, okay, well, that works a little bit better. While the lighting originally, it's this space here. There's a big old tiger. Now take the orange and the reds and the rusts and the brown of tiger, and then add these gray like purple hues of this skyfire from spirit. And through the essence of this progression or experience through 1, 2, 3, whether you're starting here, this is in between, or beginning here, or stepping in on an entirely different day, it is inner child channelings. And this is the inner child channeling space that's held like the eye of the tiger, not just the eye of the tiger, but of the tiger essence. If a tiger means anything to you. I want to note as well, this little bit of pink that's shining through is sparking me in from number 2. If you've come or will just step in there at some point in time. And also possibly, I can't remember, I'm quite liminal now, but I want to say maybe even from number 1, orangutans. And this is where I feel like I'm putting something down. My feet are here. Like there's like Sasquatch energy, interdimensionality here. And your inner child essence may be the channel that travels interdimensionally beyond the logic of maybe our adult, beyond the logic of our adolescent, where kind of like no one maybe has listened to us in the spirit of inner child. Again, I'm applying it to a child, and it's not held there. An inner child could be 80 years old, the wisest of wise, the elder, the mother, maiden, crone, father, son, Holy Spirit, the trifecta, the triune state here. And this is something about that triune state in a tiger. There's a happy head and a happy heart. This isn't to say that you haven't been through things, that, because I'm seeing somebody sleepwalking here. Maybe you were a sleepwalker or you are a sleepwalker. I'm also seeing Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. But this woman it's almost like being haunted. And you know I love me some haunted. I love haunted hearts. I also hold grief very, very, I know many of us do, but is a very sacred container and space to feel in if you have been through fires of cremation, versions of yourself that have been inspired or sparked by the inner child, curiosities. Maybe there's even been accidents around you, tragedies, losses. I think it's Rocky. Is it the Eye of the Tiger, or at least it's Eye of the Tiger? And I feel like I want to like start boxing. But there's something in, maybe it's 11 that stands out as a spirit number for you. Fire that is not just yellow and golden, but also has something added to it to give it the golden glow, with edges like tips of hair, dyeing your hair or adding something, an embellishment. It's like wearing a suit, but with fun socks, where nobody knows that you're wearing underwear of a certain kind. And so it's something that maybe you, it's not about, I don't get the sensation like hiding the inner child in a overprotective way or a malicious way. This feels like in having a fun secret. Like, we're gonna get, insert your favorite burger joint. We're gonna get ice cream after dinner, you know, and you know this, but your siblings don't, or your best friend doesn't know, or you have a gift for someone or something. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna tell them. I want to tell them so badly because it's gonna be so fun, so exciting. This is the energy I'm getting here. And maybe this is what I would want as a gift from your inner child energy to give to you in the here and now, the inner child in you here and now. I have a gift for you. I have something for you. I can't wait till your birthday. I'm not waiting for a holiday. I don't want to wait, but we're getting ice cream for dinner. Your hard work, your dedication. I love the fishes because they're so delicious. Gone goldfishing. Gone gold. Okay, there's something about goldfishes that might stand out to you. And then along with the koi, something about a tarantula. If tarantula means anything to you. Okay, so in the spirit of the orangutans, but I feel like these are different orangutans. They're just different. They're old, they're gray. Older, gray. I think you've been through some stress. I also think, like, for like me, I have it. I've had gray hair since I've been about in my 20s, and I don't cover it because I have gray hair. I cover it because I don't like hair touching my face. But there's something about the salt and pepper of it all, celebrating your stresses, yes, but those stresses have been transmuted into almost like not gold thread, like in Rumpelstiltskin with the thing, but with like silver threads. And I'm putting something down that was keeping IUE me at some point in time a little bit bent out of shape. There's a very celestial feel here. The spirit of the fire, I want to say, in the symbolic space of the initiation of fire. But there's also something about, I think I'm seeing either like the Grand Canyon or Australia. There's a specific deck that I think has it, a grounded, old, ancient land type thing. Here's the thing though, while I'm saying ancient, it's more like a city of amethyst surrounds you. You might be an indigo child if you resonate with that term. In the spirit of. It's like you're here and you're doing the things. We get jobs, we make money, we buy the things, we're doing, yes, the tangible texture realm is delicious. But you also come with a mission. And that, as Steph, makes me uncomfortable because it's not my thing. But I do want to acknowledge it could be your thing. And I want that to be a proud thing that maybe you hold, like fun socks or fancy fun underwear or a cool handkerchief pocket square or sunglasses. Like there's something like an accent aigu that just speaks volumes through you, even though it's like an earring. Something that glitters and it stands out in you. And so this mission, and again, if that, even for you, if that word's like but or if you're like yes, you can feel the mission, insert the word if mission makes you go call it purpose, a drive, a calling, a message coming through you as a channel, or simply the thread of information that connects you interdimensionally. Like an umbilical cord. And there's movement here that it's like I've cracked open a geode, or it's been sliced in half, and now I can see the center of it. Being weary of foxes and antlers that are false, for even long nails are not always claws. There's something about impressions that are appreciative, but still aren't made true. Your roots are like radishes. Well, it's not very poetic and all of that. Ooh, sorry, kind of like, ooh, it's like the wind, I think it was the number 2. Like root vegetables, carrots talking underground, peanuts underground. This feels like things that grow underground, and the ecosystem, the mycelium, and the nature that moves beyond. No, alongside, adjacent to, connected to what we see and say is the surface. I'm putting something down because it's do I want to say it's a seed that will grow into something? Why am I carrying it around? Have you been carrying something, maybe on behalf of, maybe you carry a message that's like a mission. Maybe you carry an aura that doesn't seem to quote unquote fit. So do you blend to fit in? Do you blend to know more about the environment? And this inner child has this channeling has a completely different feel from 1 and 2. The big bare feet like the Yeti or the Sasquatch, old trees that have been cut down, but their trunks are now stumps for one to sit and think. There are hauntings here that are being swirled in a tornado. Simultaneously, I have an earthquake with a hurricane happening. And this might all seem volatile, maybe even accused of violent from nature. And I want to note, whether conspiratorial or not, but in this moment, there is natural weather, and then there is manipulated weather. And your inner child spirit seems to know the difference when, if this is emotional, intuitive, intellectual, when it's manipulated systems, maybe around you, you see them, you sense them in jobs, workplaces. You know when it's even around you, let's just say, when it's being manipulated for you to maybe feel a certain way, confused, angry, mad. While their emotions, yes, but they do activate an action. But the cause is by something manipulated. But when it's natural and you get the sense it's from the organicness of, so it's so different here, okay, of the sky. Spirit. Spirits. And these ghouls are being vacuumed, dispersed. And I'm not angry at Mother Earth or Father Sky or the weather system. Nature is respected and understood, likable or not. Devastation, maybe, perhaps. Violence, still, maybe. But when it's natural, it's almost as if there's some inherent interconnected to interdimensional understanding of the butterfly effect. And I think in some way, shape, or form, if you're here, you receive messages from and information from the energies. Yes, there's a dragon wing in here, and there's also a violet tulip. There's something about residual energy here. I'm seeing like a spirit in a hotel or a house going down a hallway over and over and over again, looking for something. I'm looking for something. There's the shaggy dog specifically from Fraggle Rock, and Fraggle Rock is bringing me back into Australia or the Grand Canyon, or maybe it's New Mexico, somewhere where there's more like red rock. And now I'm in the red rock. I'm in it like Fraggle Rock. I'm in it or under it or within it or something like that. And there's a moose here. It's depicted on the cave wall. It's a moose. It's also something about following a weather system, a weather vane. I'm very far outside of my comfort zone of knowing what those means, but I feel, again, there's like a science and a spirituality, and the science of being spiritual and the spiritual of being science simultaneously. And there's something about knowing or sensing this movement. So maybe there's a movement, you are working like in this mission, and there's a move, like a movement when people do like make movements. I don't know. I don't mean like make a movement, but like it's the action. Yes, sometimes the cause and effect, emotional or energetically, creates an action, a movement, and that creates another cause. And it's a chain of events. And then there's this other space where it's like a movement of people. And it can, when this weather is manipulated, no one knows the cause. They don't know the cause. They think they do. They don't look far enough, because then they might find out and dig dug it's not true. what they've been led to believe. And I don't know, this all feels like, again, very big, and I'm here in an inner child space, but this seems to be kind of the essence of it. Because you can channel this information, but maybe it's not always received. Okay. I don't know how to place this context in a myriad of potential belief systems, but I'll say it the way I heard it, and you do with it what you will. Pick, flick, receive, release. You didn't sell your soul. Because there might have been another lifetime or experience, if this is in a context or regards of, you've probably already learned that lesson, what the consequences of doing that are, and they are, and your wisdom that is imbued like in the sky that you breathe, like it's just everywhere. It feels like freedom. It feels like freedom if there was someone or something in your experiences that locked you in, where you were chained to. While you might have had those experiences, you didn't compromise to the degree where you would feel you sold your soul, or sell out, or I don't know. These words are like very weird movements and stuff like this, but as you step into them or stay far away, trust your choice, because you've already been through the fire. And you might be here in this moment in a completely different capacity. And maybe even more so on behalf of the planet, the Earth's expression of existence. Can I get some card? We're actually, okay, we're going to get some more cards here. And I'm going to flip this. So if you want to take that in, again, I hope this has made some sort of sense. Yours is very different, but I love it. We're open to different. Someone's holding their breath with their cheeks right in there. I see it. It's a lioness. You make me feel like dancing. A crusade. See these like big, there's been a lot of theme about monkeys. I think they're monkeys now versus maybe apes. I don't know. Again, I don't know enough species to know them, but they're sticking their tongues out. Oh, I, oh, there's a big crystal ball in here, or it's a big, oh, do you know what it is? It's this. There's a face in there of the sky fire. Do you see things in the sky? You might be a sky scryer. If you're familiar with my other channel at House of Scrying, a sky scryer or a fire scryer. Now, it does not have to be magical or mystical. I'm seeing somebody walk across land. Could be your backyard. So this is the way I'm saying this. Oh, yeah. You've been to the gates of quote unquote symbolic, metaphorically, hell. So You're also not afraid to raise a little hell. I'm hearing that song from Queen. Raise a little hell, raise a little hell, raise a little hell. You're kind of a force to be reckoned with. And I'm saying that not in fear. Like, when people sometimes be like, oh, I'm a force to be reckoned with. And they're, trying to, it's like having, again, I'm not poo-pooing fake nails, but it's like saying you have claws, but they're not claws. And whatever soul space, it's like your inner child is the old soul. And what it's kind of wrapped around, I'm seeing filet mignon as well. Kind of like, apple smoked bacon, I don't know, whatever. Top tier kind of thing. You've been through some changes on the earth and through the experience of the earth's energy and weather systems that have been tested and tried to take control and ownership of. And the earth's energy, male and female alike, from sky to space to inner earth to the expressions of, is very grateful for those that come and work with to protect. But there's a lot of this grace that I'm feeling here, because I feel like if the decision was made on behalf of the existences to be done, it would be done. It would not be a conversation if Mother Earth decided we start again. But there's also something here. Wow, this is like just in a space I'm not really sure I qualified to be in, but I'm going to keep going. Because I feel like if you're here, you probably are in some form of tune or frequency or hertz to this understanding, because there's also false hurts of maybe the same kind of things, devastations, etc., to distract or unite people equally. Because sometimes in the cleaning up, if it's natural, we come together. And other times it's a distraction that seems to unite us, but it's a distraction from it's the manipulations. You might feel cursed to sense these things, because I even feel like uncomfortable trying to get them out of my face. Well, I'm uncomfortable all the time. You got to know your company, I suppose, or however you might, if you journal or you have certain cohorts that you communicate to, or you talk to the land, you go for a walk, you feel your feet to the earth, you sit down, you have a smoke, you have a picnic. I don't know what you do. It's fine. But it's almost like the grounding point is really who you give back to is to the earth for sustenance and nutrients through an energetic form. It's almost like you are a part of the flowers blooming in the spring. Excuse me. You are a part of the rain when the soil is dry. You are a part of every season, even when it gets cold and wintry, to go within and recalibrate and hibernate and relish in providing another part equator weather system. And that is why it's not winter everywhere at the same time. It is the yin and the yang, and you are a part of that. You are the pine needles. I see you. I see you in this very complex inner child space that I'm in here now. There's a pirate here, and I feel like I'm a little bit fencing. Cave of Ice. Dawn Watcher. 13, caretaker, guardian, support. I'm telling you, you're some sort of guardian or support here for the earth. Still very muted purple. It's not muted because it's not vibrant, but there has been times where I think I want to say it's almost like what people would call the veils. And this just happens to be in a different area. You might also be really connected to the Akashic, but I'm going to stay close to earth here because this is what I feel like wants to be spoken and appreciated towards you. There's a barn swallow, something about that family. 11 and 13 are pretty significant numbers as well because you integrate by being earthly. This is the way the frequencies, the indigo, the missions, the weather, the naturalness, the organicness of it is infused into the earth's material world, energetic world, also emotional spaces and aura is through you, through the 13. You are the integration of this part of, and there really is quite a system of it. There's many of IUMEs out here that are part of this movement. Even though the irony is, while there's movement and you might be just like going to work and it's when you sit. It's when you sit or stand and your focus, what you're doing is almost irrelevant. You could be in movement or stillness, but your focus of energy is prioritized to the earth energy. So that doesn't mean you need to touch a tree per se. Sometimes you do. You might be looking up at the sky and breathing with your eyes. You might be tasting something with your ears. Frequencies. You watch over because you know this dawn, this change, this shift, this time that you have decided to reside and be here is on purpose. Full moon temple coming in the cave of winds, 27, celebration, peak, translucent moment. I thought it said, maybe it said movement. Yeah, there's a little bit of island in you. What also came out with it is 15, the dolphin color. Pure, joyful friendships, loving help. There's the island. Yes, this whole temple is an island like your earth, but also your indigo essence. Apply whatever it may be in the cave of winds of the mind. You know that you're also a watcher, a guardian of this threshold, the turning of the tides, the turning of the wheel, the wonder, but primarily here first you are, and I'm not applying this mission to you, but I'm just seeing it as a priority through the inner child channel, is that you are here as the integration, a receiver and a transmitter from sky to earth, not just their physical essences or expressions, but to the, maybe the elder energy is the best way I can say that in the simplest way. Somebody has tried to, not you, I'm saying this might be a thing you're feeling. Somebody has tried to encage the moon. Did you feel at some point in time that your subconscious, your sleep, your specialty was locked away from you? I'm seeing it right in there in the Cave of Winds. Was this a way of thinking? Very hermity as well, coming out, Cave of Winds. Freedom. I am here from the fire. This is very Phoenix as well. Coming out from the ashes, Eye of the Tiger. There are what I think are like African tribal people, like they're dancing or something like that. They're moving very quickly and then they stop. And then they do something and then they stop. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to see. There's dragons here as well, if I didn't say so already. And there is a youthfulness in your inner child that wants to let you know this. You are free to believe. And you can also call for help. How that help is received will be in the best way. Not the way we expect it to come or have been shown before through others. They are simply an inspiration of an example. And dare I say, what you may consider a ceiling is a floor. And so sometimes utilizing others, great as inspiration, but as barometers, as an indicator of floor, ceilings, walls, limitations, reflections, open up to the higher calling. Always have that childlike wonder that somebody's ceiling that you're seeing that may seem like a skyscraper to wherever you are right now could be your floor. That skyscraper is also bringing me into like a tower, the temple, getting closer to the sky. Okay, well, that was just too many. Don't be ridiculous. Getting closer to the sky, bringing the earth up, building something. You are also here. I can hear you. I think that you have a definite connection. There's eels here. There's also something being, I don't know who you are, what's going on, but this is incredible. You have a feeling when like something's been released from the depths of hell. Let's say if somebody's been, and I'm using that so symbolic, maybe it's science and they've unleashed something. You get a signal. You get a signal about that. There's roosters. Cave of Earth fires, please. And I also think that you can feel sometimes the pain of crying souls that are entrapped. I don't want to accuse and say they sold their soul, but they might be under that belief system that they did. Cave of Hearth Fires, 9, the Angel Gate, closing protection. I can't even speak it. The Angel Gate, cleansing, protection, and blessings. See the piece of this? It's in your ink. This is, I almost want to say here and now, if I may, and you know, of course, receive or release freely. This might be your last time coming, kicking it here on Earth. So you're very serious about why you're here, what you're doing. You're probably very passionate one way or the other, cleaning things up. And you're really here on behalf of, you know, the things and the energies that you care about. But I don't think you're coming back. I don't think your next round's going to be here. And if that feels away, I almost kind of feel like that takes some pressure off as well. It's like when you know you're going on vacation from work in like a week and you get to you get into vacation mode early. Suddenly things aren't as pertinent as they appear. Or somebody comes to your desk and they're like, "Oh my goodness, I need this done." Da, da, da. And you're like, "Dude, I'm on vacation and like at the end of day, I'm not your person." The vibe is completely different. The being able to spark a fire under somebody who's on going on vacation is different. Yeah, it might seem like, well, you don't even care. You got to start like lightening up. you know, because you're like, I don't want to spend the first day of my vacation trying to lighten up and like detoxing from the drama, the dimensional drama. And I'm not trying to be rude, but this is just how it's kind of feeling in this moment. But in the best way, it's like, so let's say it's your last run here, Earthling style. You've been probably incarnating here, or have, even if it's all in this lifetime and you don't believe in reincarnation, totally cool. But you have a sense or access to or history to many, like the wars and the this and the theories of science and all these great things. So you can have a good time while you're here too, and kind of enjoy the benefits, because you know it's not all work and no play. That makes the earth and sky sad. Because sometimes earth, while has many opportunities to be a playground, a prison, a this, that, or a temple, it can also be a vacation spot. And are you potentially okay with retiring as an maybe an elder indigo or inner child indigo, and your priority now is to the earth, and you stay focused on that and have, it's like being on call now. You can relax a little bit, have a good time, because this might be the last flavor and you will always have a chance to choose again differently. But if you are like, I'm done after all this, then kind of like go out feeling like you've been on vacation. It's like, yeah, it started away, but yeah, that earth energy, those trees, the sound of the wind, the flavors of life, the freedom, the free will being used, good, bad, or ugly. It's chaos, but it's also celebratory, and it's also fulfilling in a way that I think part of you knows is not, cannot be received quite the same anywhere else. How wise is your, I'm even like leaning back, like we totally went into chill mode and be like, oh yeah, unprofesh, too chill, we're fine. mm. Something about subconscious stresses, ease. When the sun is rising, the moon is not in a cage. Cave of Rivers, 7, the tree of illumination, truth, revelation, and understanding. Does it need, do we need to say anything more? When your umbilical cord is connected to the celestial, there's so much smiles here, like happy face emojis. And I don't know if the lighting like really gives this Inkblot its kind of time to shine, but there is like the gold, and there is a little bit of silver in there too, and it has a glisten. Look how happy. Also, if you have a good friend, something about the giants, the time of the giants. Really, you got a good friend. You can almost like see do you know what it is? You're free in their energy, and likewise. There's no caging. The tree of illumination with 7 in the cave of rivers, or your cups. Okay, so I'm going to come back to it. Oh, it's uncomfortable, but here we are. It steps forward, it steps forward. I have the tigers back too. So sevens, it's like being at, or I'm seeing a lotto thing. What's that darn thing called? Slot machine. Jackpot, 777, da da da. It's almost like being told or sold that 7 is a lucky number. Now, whether it is or isn't, it's none of my business, and it's up to you to decide. You can override whatever. But I'm seeing it as it's just simply illumination that, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if 7 actually is lucky for me, or is, of course, follow what you know. Again, we're grounded here by 11, 13 of integration. 9's also, okay, anyway. You understand when something's man-made. It's like somebody's telling you 7s are lucky. If you get 3 7s and you win a jackpot, yeah, that's lucky. But was it because of the 7s? Well, that was manipulated for you to believe that. So then there's an energy that's going into 7s that is feeding what maybe is really an 8. 8 energy that's behind the scenes. That's the manipulator. So anyway, you get the gist. I feel like that's very confusing. The point is you're aware of the webs. Now, that doesn't mean to say we don't fall into them sometimes, because that's also maybe how we remember. We're like, yeah. And there's something natural truth and understanding that comes about like the spring does after winter. The summer energizes, but then also dries, can dry into a dangerous time in a drought. In the cave of earth is 29 mountain lights, light beings, portals, subtle energies. Is that like when we were in the mountain of Fraggle Rock, and underneath that is 8? We were just talking about 8. The liminal dance, delicacy, fragility, transience. Seen Goldilocks and is it Goldilocks and the Three Bears? Something's too hot, something's too cold. This is just right. The subtle energies that you're attuned to, the light beings and portals from this mountain. Now, okay, so thank you. It might be that interconnected, interdimensional kind of feel, the celestial vibe here now. And it's like seeing things come in and out of like mountain ranges. If it must be extraterrestrial kind of oriented, but I think it's just energy in general, because you as well, while you're sitting in your mind, this is your mountain and it communicates. And I dare say it kind of feels like otherworldly, but that doesn't mean you don't belong here and now, that your inner child channelings don't have a place to be grounded on. I just think that there's been some sort of history of sacrifice. And your inner child of sorts has been and hears the cries and the souls. I'm seeing like knuckles come in like this, but then and there's an egg right here, and this egg is being presented to you. There's also a bow and arrow, but it's an ornate bow and arrow. On the bottom is the leap, ecstasy, bliss, belief. And maybe a lot of this comes down to your belief system, which I think is a pretty popular thing to say. But you watch, you observe, you take notice and the subtleties, because you are part of the light beings. You've been through the hellfires, you've been through the darkness, you know it's there. You can almost wander through, no different than if you're walking through the heavens to the hells. It's just kind of like you've been there, done that. And I'm not trying to minimize anything, but you've been there, done that. And you're kind of retired. Your inner child is retired. And your inner child wants to play on the beach, relax, hang with friends. That doesn't mean you don't take on responsibilities or that you don't do the things, the projects, passions oriented. What I'm talking about is you're not driven by false things. That's for other energies in different stages to learn. You might add your wisdom. You could even be a spirit guide here, walking about in earthly form that puts out red flags, yellow flags, green flags, signs and symbols for others, and you don't even know it. Maybe you do know it, but I'm getting the feeling like you don't even know that when you lost this shoe at some point in time, somebody else found that shoe in the very specific time that led them to a clue about maybe a missing person, and they were found. And not because it was your direct shoe, but it's almost like these interconnected things. And it led them to fall over and find their love or find their pet that had run away. Or they bent down to pick up where you've put something down and maybe you walked away and forgot about it. And somebody else picked it up and was like, oh my goodness, I needed $5 and somebody dropped $5. And that person really needed $5. This is where the inner child doesn't get constipated by everyone else's things. They just trust the process, put things down, pick things up. I have no idea where I'm at. So I hope this has served, inspired, educated, or entertained, because number 3, whew, closing out message, lake, depth. I was just going to say, this is so deep. I'm going to come up for some air. I'm going to ground. This is your last lifetime. You know, have a good time. Alchemy, magic, you are here on behalf of and the wind. Change. Things are changing. Your inner child is changing. Fire's on the bottom, and you've got a crap ton of it in here. And that's that alchemy, that magic. Mountains right underneath it. It's all very electric. Dude, I gotta stop. But I'm not gonna lie. I want to linger. And I won't loiter in your energy anymore. But I will close with this. It's like you in and of yourself, while being so connected celestially into the cosmicness of the earth's energy and all the elements that are here to play. It's like you are an expression of liminality. So for me, you feel like home. That's why I want to loiter, but I'm not going to loiter. But I'll take the leap. You do you. Until next time, I will see you next week, or whenever you step into it to listen to the other ones or check out the playlist, etc., or over at the House of Scrying. Whatever feels good, you can check out the website, thehouseofscrying.com, see what's going on in the shop, whatever you want to do. I'm so grateful for you, and until next time, so much love. Bye.